Do not think that whosoever talks in Gnostic terms is an infidel. Everything must be investigated. First of all, it must be understood what the other man is saying. If that is understood, perhaps there will be no need of rejecting him. Everywhere it is the same story of grapes, inab, angur, and uzum. One man states a thing in one way, another man uses the terms of cause and effect while saying the same thing. The third man uses the word mover and consequence, while the fourth man says manifest and manifestation. At some time or other all of them reach a stage where they realize how to describe the being who is everywhere, but is not any of the things we perceive. That is why sometimes someone ever says, Ali, peace be upon him, is Allah's hand. Ali, peace be upon him, is Allah's eye. The Quran says, "You did not throw when you threw, but Allah threw." It also says, "Surely those who pledge their allegiance to you really pledge their allegiance to Allah. Allah's hand is above their hands." Surah Al-Fath, chapter 48, verse 10. Does this verse mean that Allah's hand is literally placed on their hands? Obviously, it does not. Above here means at a higher point spiritually. Actually, we lack words to express this position properly. As Allah is far above that He may be mingled with anything or that He may be related to anything in a general sense. Similarly, He is above that we may be able to understand the nature of His glory. His glory is unknown to us, but we believe that there is certainly something of this sort. We cannot deny its existence. When we believe that such things exist, we have to admit that they are mentioned in one way or another in the Quran and Sunnah. In the Quran, wherever there is a mention of the glory of Allah, the words revealing or manifesting have been used. In Surah Al-Hadid, a verse says, "He is explicit and implicit." A report says that the last 6 verses of the Surah Al-Hadid are for the people who will appear in the last era. Only they will be able to understand these verses which give some account of creation, etc. It is in these verses that Allah says, "He is the first and the last, and the explicit and the implicit, and He is with you wherever you are." Surah Al-Hadid, chapter 57, verses 3 to 4. Nobody can easily understand what is meant by the last era. Only 1 or 2 persons in the world may be able to understand the significance of this phrase. Misunderstandings must be removed. The main point which I want to emphasize is that misunderstanding must be removed, and there should be an end to the differences between the pedagogues and the scholars. The way to Gnosis must not be blocked. Islam is not the name of the rules of law only. The basis of these rules is something else. The basis should not be considered to be superfluous, nor should it be sacrificed for the sake of derivatives. We must not say that Gnosis is not required or has no importance. Someone told me that a person was mentioned before the late Sheikh Muhammad Bahari. He says, "That man is a righteous infidel." How can that be? We said. Is he righteous and at the same time an infidel? Sheikh Muhammad Bahari said, yes. He is righteous because he acts according to the law of Islam and does not commit any sin. And he is an infidel because the God which he worships is not true God. Even the ant loves itself. According to our traditions, perhaps the ant thinks that Allah has two horns. This is due to self-love which an ant also apparently harbors. The ant is a very funny creature. It thinks that it is a mark of grandeur to have horns. When we think about our virtues and merits, we also think almost in the same way. It is the same ant which thought that Prophet Solomon and his troop could not understand anything. The Quran says, an ant exclaimed, "O ants, enter your dwellings, lest Sulayman and his troops crush you because they do not understand." And he, Sulayman, smiled, laughing at her speech. Surah An-Naml, chapter 27, verses 17 to 19. The case of the ant is not a solitary one. Everybody thinks the same way. Even Hoopoe, according to the Quran, said, "I know what you do not." Surah An-Naml, chapter 27, verse 22. The Hoopoe said so to Prophet Sulayman, who was a prophet, and who had a companion who brought to him the throne of Bilqis in the twinkling of an eye. How could he do that is not known. Was there any electric system of transportation, or was it a case of annihilating a thing and then bringing it back into existence? Or was the throne of Bilqis transported after having been converted into electric waves? According to a report, one of the companions of Prophet Sulayman knew a letter of Allah's exalted name, and by virtue of it could bring anything desired to Prophet Sulayman before the twinkling of an eye. To such a prophet, the Hoopoe said, "I know what you do not." Anyway, what Sheikh Muhammad Bahari meant to say was that that particular scholar said what he understood, and he acted also accordingly. Is it bad luck to be unaware of some important questions? I think it is unfortunate that a group of scholars, which includes some very good and pious persons, is unaware of some important questions. When I came to Qum, Mirza Ali Akbar Hakim was there. He had established an Islamic academy at his house. The scholars used to receive education there. Such outstanding persons as the late Agha Khawansari and the late Agha Ishraqi used to attend Mirza Ali Akbar's lectures. On that occasion, a pious and prominent personality, who is no longer amongst us, remarked, "Look to what level has the condition of Islam gone down. Now the business of Islam is being transacted at the house of Mirza Ali Akbar." He made this remark despite the fact that personally he was a pious man. Even after his death, one of his representatives said on the pulpit, I have myself seen Mirza Ali Akbar reciting the Quran. The late Agha Shah Abadi was very much offended by this remark. Such misunderstandings are regrettable, and keeping oneself aloof from good work is also deplorable. What a pity that this scholar did not take part in the meritorious act of setting up a learned academy. Philosophy is a commonplace thing, but some people object to it also. In fact, these people do not understand each other, and that is why all the disputes arise. A scholar declares another scholar infidel simply because he does not understand what the other man says. The fault of the other man is that he uses such terms as cause, effect, etc., which in the eyes of the former are contrary to the facts. I said earlier that divine name is not separate from the name. The name is a manifestation and a sign, but not such a sign as a milestone is. Therefore, it is difficult to say that such and such thing is a sign of Allah. But the words used in the Quran are closest to the reality, but still do not represent it fully. The difficulty is that better words do not exist. I said earlier that the Quran was like a dining table with many dishes placed on it. Everybody can have food according to his choice. No group has a monopoly of the Quran. All have a right to be benefited by it equally. The supplications of the Imams are full of spiritual knowledge, but some individuals try to deprive the people of these supplications which impart knowledge and convey the views of the Quran. Imams' supplications interpret the Quran and explain the questions to which others do not have access. It is wrong to persuade people to give up supplications. It is wrong to say that as we want to concentrate on the Quran, the supplications are not required. People should cultivate a liking for the supplications so that they may develop an attachment to Allah. Those who do so give no importance to worldly things. They are not self-conceited and keep themselves busy with the tasks liked by Allah. Such people include those who used to fight for the sake of Allah, and at the same time used to recite the supplications. Their circumstances were not different from ours, but still they managed to wield the sword and pray at the same time. Just as the Holy Prophet and the Holy Quran are not separate from each other, similarly, the Holy Quran and the supplications are also not separate from each other. We cannot say that as we have the Quran, we do not need the Holy Prophet. The Quran and the Holy Prophet go together. They will always remain together till they arrive together at the fountain of Kawthar. There is no question of their parting. If some of us take them separately and want the Quran to be separate, the Imams to be separate and the supplications to be separate, or if some of us say that the books of supplications are not required, and as such they may be set on fire, or if some of us want the books of the Gnostics to be burnt. The reason is simply that the people who say and do such thing are ignorant. A man who exceeds his limit always falls into error. Kasravi and Hafiz Khosravi was a historian. His knowledge of history was good. He was a fine writer also, but he was self-conceited. In the end he began to claim to be a prophet. He, however, believed in the Quran, but he was totally against supplications. He lowered prophethood and brought it down to his own level. As he himself could not rise up, he lowered prophethood. The supplications and the Quran all go together. The Gnostics, the Sufi poets, and the philosophers all say the same thing. Their points of view are not different. The difference is only that of their diction and the style of expression. Hafiz Shirazi, the celebrated Persian poet, has his own individual style. He mentions the same points as others do, but in a different manner. Their choice of words may be different, but the people should not be deprived of the blessings of the subject matter. It is essential to call people to the vast treasure of knowledge contained in the Quran, Sunnah, and supplications, so that everybody may be benefited by them according to his capacity. This was a prelude to the points I intend to put forward later. If I am spared, and mention any expression used by the Gnostics as a possibility, it should not be said that I was trying to revive their expressions. In fact, their expressions are worth being popularized. Some craftsmen used to call on the late Agha Shah Abadi, who used to narrate Gnostic problems in front of them as in front of others. One day I said, "Do you narrate these things in front of these people also?" He said, "Never mind, let these heresies be heard by them too." We also had some such people. I cannot say who they were. It will be wrong to mention anybody by name. Now, the topic of discussion is that Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim has Al-Rahman Al-Rahim and Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen is also followed by the same words with Al-Rahman Al-Rahim. Al-Rahman Al-Rahim. The words Al-Rahman and Al-Rahim may in Bismillah either relate to Ism or Allah. Both the possibilities are there. God willing, we will see later which of these two possibilities appear to be more reasonable. Appendix: the invocation of Shabaniyah. My Lord, bestow your blessings on Muhammad and his descendants. Respond to my prayer when I pray to you. Listen to my call when I call you, and turn to me when I make my submission to you in confidence. I have come running to you and am standing before you, imploring you in humility and hoping to get the reward you have for me. You know what is in my heart, and you are aware of what I need. You know my mind, and are not unaware of my future and of my present, of what I want to begin my speech with, of the request I would utter, and of the hopes I have in regard to my ultimate lot. My Lord, whatever you have destined for me up to the end of my life, whether concerning the open aspect of my life or the hidden aspect of it, is bound to come. What is to my advantage is what is to my disadvantage. All my losses and gains are in your hand, not in the hand of anybody else. My Lord, if you deprive me, who else will provide me? And if you let me down, who else will help me? My Lord, I seek your protection from your anger and from earning your displeasure. If I am not fit for gaining your mercy, you are certainly fit to be generous to me by virtue of your magnanimity. My Lord, I see as if I am standing before you, protected by my trust in you. You said what befitted you, and covered me with your forgiveness. My Lord, if you forgive me, then who is more suited than you to do that? If the time of my death has come near, and my deeds have not still brought me close to you, I make this confession of my sins, a means of approaching you. I have been unjust to my soul, for I have not looked after it. It will certainly be doomed if you do not forgive it. My Lord, you have always been kind to me during my lifetime. Therefore, do not cut off your favor from me at the time of my death. My Lord, how can lose the hope of your looking kindly in me after my death, when you have always been good to me during my life? My Lord, in my case do what befits you, and bestow your favor on me, a sinner, enwrapped in his ignorance. My Lord, you have concealed many of my sins in this world. I am in a greater need of their being conceded in the next. As you have not revealed my sins even to any of your pious bondmen, do not expose me on the day of resurrection before everybody. My Lord, your generosity has expanded my aspiration, and your forgiveness is superior to my deeds. Therefore, gladden my heart by allowing me to meet you on the day you administer justice to your bondmen. My Lord, my apology to you is the apology of him who cannot afford his apology being not accepted. Therefore, accept my apology. You are the most magnanimous of those to whom the evildoers tender their apology. My Lord, do not turn down my request, do not foil my desire, and do not cut off my hope and expectation of you. My Lord, if you had wanted to disgrace me, you would not have guided me, and if you had wanted to expose my faults and vices, you would not have kept me safe and sound. My Lord, I do not think that you will turn down my request, for that in asking you for which I have spent my whole life. My Lord, all praise is due to you, always and forever, growing, not diminishing, as you like and please. My Lord, if you condemn me for my crimes, I will cling to your forgiveness, and if you hold me for my sins, I will cling to your granting pardon. If you haul me into the hell, I will tell its inmates that I love you. My Lord, if my deeds are too small in relation to how I should obey you, my aspirations are high enough as compared to what I should expect of you. My Lord, how can I go away from you unsuccessful and disappointed, when I had a high hope that you will be kind enough to send me away, enjoying safety and deliverance? My Lord, I have wasted my life committing the crime of forgetting you, and played havoc with my youth, intoxicated with keeping myself away from you. My Lord, I did not wake up when I was under delusion about you, and was inclined to earn your displeasure. My Lord, I am your bondman. son of your bondman. I am standing before you, trying to use your own magnanimity as a means of approaching you. My lord, I am a bondman of yours. I want to rid myself of the sins I used to commit in your presence because I lacked the sense of feeling ashamed that you were looking at me. I request you to forgive me, because forgiveness is a characteristic of your kindness. My lord, I was not strong enough to move away from your disobedience. Except when you awakened me to your love. I was exactly as you wanted me to be. I am thankful to you for introducing me to your kindness and purging my heart of the impurities of being inattentive to you. My lord, look upon me as the person whom you called and he responded to you, whom you helped by using his services and he obeyed you. You near one who is not far from one who is away from you. You munificent who does not withhold his reward from one who hopes for it. My lord, provide me with a heart, the passion of which may bring it near you, with a tongue, the truth of which may be submitted to you, and with a vision, the nature of which may bring it close to you. My lord, whoever gets acquainted with you is not unknown. Whoever takes shelter under you is not disappointed, and one to whom you turn is not a slave. One who follows your path is enlightened, and one who takes refuge in you is saved. My lord, I have taken refuge in you. Therefore, do not disappoint me of your mercy, and do not keep me secluded from your kindness. My lord, place me among your friends in the position of one who hopes for an increase in your love. My lord, inspire me with a passionate love of remembering you, so that I may keep on remembering you, and by your holy name and pure position cherish my cheerful determination into a success. My lord, I invoke you to admit me to the place reserved for those who obey you, and to attach me to the nice abode of those who enjoy your good pleasure. I can neither defend myself, nor do I control what is advantageous for me. My lord, I am your powerless sinning slave, and your repentant bondman. So do not make me one of those from whom you turn away your face, and whom his negligence has secluded from your forgiveness. My lord, grant me complete severance to my relations with everything else, and total submission to you. Enlighten the eyes of our hearts with the light of their looking at you, to the extent that they penetrate the veils of light and reach the source of grandeur. And let our souls get suspended by the glory of your sanctity. My lord, make me one of those whom you call and they respond, when you look at and they are thunderstruck by your majesty. You whisper to them secretly, and they work for you openly. My lord, I have not allowed my pessimistic despair to overcome my good opinion about you, nor did I ever lose my hope of your benevolence. My lord, if my errors have degraded me with you. You may forgive me in view of my unqualified reliance on you. If my sin have made me unfit to receive your tender affection, my firm belief has reminded me of your compassion. My Lord, if my disregard for preparations to meet you has put me to sleep, my knowledge of your kind bounties has awakened me. My Lord, if your severe punishment calls me to hell, the abundance of your reward invites me to paradise. My Lord, I ask you and pray to you earnestly. I ask you and pray to you earnestly. I desire and request you to show your favor to Muhammad and his descendants. Make me one of those who always remember you and never violate the pledge they make to you, who do not fail to show you their gratitude and do not take your orders lightly. My Lord, let me be attached to the light of your majestic glory, so that I may know you alone, be away from others, and have a heart fearful of you, and an eye watchful of you. May Allah's blessing and peace be on Muhammad and those of his descendants who are pure.